cuatro. Hey, buenos días. Soy yo, el señor Morris. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Today, we're going to start a new unit on sports. During this unit, we'll be talking about sports and sports terms and parts of the head and the body. Pero primero, vamos a cantar nuestra canción de saludos. Canten conmigo. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Cómo se sienten? Yo me siento bien. Hey, muy bien. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and start by looking at the calendar. Now, I'm going to ask you some new questions today, still related to what we've been looking at here on the calendar. Okay? For example, this question, ¿en qué mes estamos? ¿En qué mes estamos? We're going to find this right up here on the calendar. Now, it depends on when you're watching these lessons, but for our calendar here, we can see that the answer is right there. So we'll answer like this. ¿En qué mes estamos? Estamos en enero. Estamos en enero. That's what this one says. And you may or may not be in enero. You may be in one of the other months. Now here's a question. ¿Cuáles son los meses del año? And we've gone over this before. Most of the months are cognates, so that makes them pretty easy. Let's look at them again right now. First month is enero. Repitan todos. Febrero. Repitan. Marzo. Abril. Mayo. Junio. Julio. Agosto. Septiembre. Octubre. Noviembre. Y diciembre. That's right. Now, and as you probably remember, I have a song to help us go over the months of the year. Canten conmigo. Let's go ahead and sing it now. Enero, febrero, marzo y abril, mayo y junio y julio también. Agosto, septiembre, octubre ya llegó. Noviembre, diciembre, el año ya acabó. Hey, you can go over that with the words that you'll find in your student resource notebook or in the teacher's guide. Ahora, otra pregunta. Okay, this one's about the calendar again. ¿En qué día cae el 16? ¿En qué día cae el 16? Well, we know in what day cae el 16. Cae, yeah, this word right here, cae, means fall. So what day does the 16th fall on? Well, let's see. Here's the 16th. So if we trace that up to the top, we can see that ¿en qué día cae el 16? Cae en martes. Cae en martes. Okay. Now we've talked about these, los días de la semana. Okay. Pues el 16 está en esta semana. Right? El 16 está en esta semana. It's here in this week. But if we're talking about this week down here, not the week that we're in, but this week down here, we'll call this la próxima semana. La próxima semana. The week that hasn't started yet. Next week. Or we can talk about these 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, sábado, domingo. And what do we call that in English? That's right. Y en español es el fin de semana. Repitan todos. El fin de semana. And fin means the end, so it's the end of the week. And on this calendar here, you can see that they do indeed come at the end of the week. Okay. Now, before we move ahead to new material, why don't we go ahead and go over what we've been looking at so far in this year with our dialogues. Okay? Let's look at our dialogues now. When you walk up to somebody, if you want to know what their name is, how are you going to ask someone their name? You're going to say, Hola, ¿cómo te llamas? Repitan. And if somebody asks you that, how are you going to answer? Go ahead and answer that question right now in your class. Did you say, Me llamo, and then whatever your name is? Yeah, she says, Me llamo Ana. Now, if you want to know how somebody's doing, what are you going to ask them? ¿Cómo estás? And if somebody asks you, ¿Cómo estás? What are you going to say? Okay? Estoy bien. Estoy bien. Well, if you want to meet somebody new, and somebody that you know has a friend there, you want to know the friend's name, you'll probably ask this question. ¿Cómo se llama tu amigo? ¿Cómo se llama tu amigo? And if somebody asks you this question, wants to know the name of a friend of yours, you can present the friend to them by saying, Te presento a, and then you say the person's name. In this case, it's David. Te presento a David. Now, when you meet somebody new, what do you say to them? You shake their hand and you say, Mucho gusto. Repitan. And if somebody says, Mucho gusto, if they say, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, you tell them, El gusto es mío. Repitan. That's right. The pleasure's mine. Now, if you want to know how old somebody is, what will you ask them? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And how do you answer that question? Tengo 11 años, or however many years old you are. Okay? And if you want to know their phone number, how are you going to ask them? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? And to answer that, how are you going to answer it? Mi número de teléfono es el 555-1234. Only, of course, you'll tell what your phone number is. How about if somebody asks you, ¿Hablas español? ¿Hablas español? And you want to tell them, yes, a little bit. How will you say that? Sí, un poco. Sí, un poco. What if somebody wants to know what country you live in? And they say, ¿En qué país vives? How are you going to answer that? Well, if you live here in the United States, you're going to say, Vivo en los Estados Unidos de América. Repitan. Okay. How about if they want to know what state you live in? ¿En qué estado vives? Okay. Well, if you live in Arizona, you'll answer like this. Vivo en el estado de Arizona. But you may live in another state and you can put your state name in there. And what if somebody wants to know what city you live in? ¿En qué ciudad vives? Well, if you lived here in Flagstaff, Arizona like I do, you'd say, Vivo en la ciudad de Flagstaff. Vivo en la ciudad de Flagstaff. But you'll go ahead and answer that depending on where you live. Okay? I hope you guys have gotten a chance to go over that. Let's go ahead and start to talk now about sports. You know, there are a lot of different sports if you think about it. There's football, hockey, basketball, baseball, those standard kinds of sports. There's water skiing, mountain climbing. Okay? Do you think that people in Spanish-speaking countries enjoy the same sports that we enjoy here? Well, some of the sports that they play are the same as ours. Some are different. But you know what? There are some basic vocabulary words that we use when we talk about sports, no matter what the sport. Okay? Can you think of some of those words? Go ahead and raise your hand and tell some to your teacher. some of the words that we use to talk about sports. Okay? Well, I tell you what, I've thought of some words that I'll go ahead and write down right now that I can show you, okay? The first word, well, the first word that I can think of is the word sports. You might want to get out your Spanish notebook to write these down. Sports, let's see, how about, well, I know what I do. I play sports, so to play sports. Because that's the verb, that's the thing you do, right? Or you can talk about a person who plays. A person who plays is called a player, right? And what does a player play on? The player plays on a team. Okay. Let's see. Well, where do they play? Where do they play? Well, it kind of depends on what they play. Like if they play football, they play on a football field, right? Or if they play basketball, they play on a basketball court. Okay. How about, how about this? I know. A swimming pool. Pool. Oh, I know what they need. They need a ball. And players usually have uniforms. Unless they're swimming, and then they need a swimming suit. Well, those are some of the words that I can think of. You might come up with others. Let me go ahead and show you what these are in Spanish, okay? And you can go ahead and copy these into your notebooks. Sports are called deportes. See? Ports, sports, deportes, deportes. If you're going to talk about playing or to play, that is jugar. Jugar is to play. A player, that comes from the same word. It's a jugador. Unless it's a girl, then you'd call her a jugadora. A team is called an equipo. That looks kind of like equipment, but equipo is the team. A field or court where people play is called a cancha. A pool where people swim is called a piscina. A ball is a pelota. A uniform, this one's easy because it's a cognate. Uniforme. And a swimming suit is a traje de baño. So this is a suit of the bath, or a swimming suit. Go ahead and copy those into your notebooks right now so that you'll be able to refer to those when we continue to talk about them. Okay? Muy bien. Well, I tell you what, right now, I'd like for you guys to learn a new game. Okay? What I'd like you to do is to take out a couple of pieces of paper, index cards like this, okay? And on one of them, write the word sí, okay? Write the word sí, which means yes. And on the other one, write the word no, which in Spanish means no, okay? Now, I want you to write those down. Now, I'm going to show you some things, okay? Some of the vocabulary words that we just learned, and I'm going to say what it is, okay? For example, okay? I'm going to hold this up. Can you see what this is? And I'm going to say, traje de baño. Traje de baño. Now, if what I say is right, you'll hold up the card that says, sí, okay? Now, if what I say is wrong, then you'll hold up the word no. Okay. Now, how about traje de baño? Which one should you do? Sí or no? Sí. Traje de baño. This is my swimming suit. It looks rather large because I am rather large. Teachers, I'm going to need your help, okay? Watch the students to make sure that they're just holding up one answer and see if they're getting the answers right, okay? Well, so let me show you a couple of things here. Oh, here you go. How about this thing? Okay, let's see. ¿Es traje de baño? ¿Es traje de baño? ¿Sí o no? No. How about this? ¿Es uniforme? ¿Es uniforme? ¿Sí o no? Sí, es uniforme. Okay, you get the idea? I'm going to show you something else here. This one. ¿Es traje de baño? ¿Es traje de baño? Hold up your cards. No. Okay. ¿Es jugador? ¿Es jugador? ¿Es pelota? ¿Es una pelota? All right. Muy bien. Well, I tell you what. Ahora vamos a repasar con la hoja de actividades llamada crucigrama de deportes. And crucigrama means crossword puzzle. Okay? It looks like this. Go ahead and put your names up at the top. Use the clues to complete the crossword puzzle. So, number 1, a suit. Remember that was one of the things I showed you, a swimming suit, and that was traje. So, let's see, go ahead and write that in there. Traje. Okay, mark through it down at the bottom. Now, hopefully you got all of those into your notebooks so that you can do that. Okay? Go ahead and complete that. Next class, we'll begin looking at the names of some sports in Spanish. Pero saben que ya es la hora de despedirnos. For our goodbye song today, I'd like to sing De Colores. Canten conmigo. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir, y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con el cara, 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 cara. Los polluelos con el pío, 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 pío. Por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Go ahead and start looking up some sports stuff around where you live. Bring in some sports stuff to your classroom. Look up some words in your dictionaries to find out what you're interested in, and we'll continue next class. Until then, adios. Hasta luego. Good job, guys.